Hey guys! So, remember that last video that I made where I said that I was gonna start uploading again more regularly? Yeah. Well, I guess it's been like over a year now. So I have a fair amount to say. I wrote down a whole bunch of it, so if you see me looking at my lap, that would be why. Um, but basically, if you remember my last video, I was kind of talking about how things in my life were really not good and I didn't really know what to do about it or where to go with it. And to be honest, I haven't really been getting any better. They hadn't, at least this whole time. Um, and like probably even worse. Like I would barely leave my house. I was not eating almost at all. Like I would have maybe a snack during the day. Like it was bad. It got really bad. Um, then I started dating a girl in like late September or October. I don't honestly remember exactly. But things seemed like they were getting a little better for me. Like I was feeling a little more motivated. Um, yeah, I just felt like I had a reason to do things again, which was nice. And then, so she's living here in Canada, but she's Mexican, and she had gone back to Mexico in like the end of January to visit, and she was supposed to be there for like 3 months, and then got, I can't say that, the thing got really bad up here, and all our borders were shut. Like flights to and from like vacation destinations were all canceled, and her family doesn't really want her coming back up here while things are really bad. Um, and then she broke up with me not too long ago. A lot of it I think had to do with like lack of communication and I don't do sexting, and it was just it became an issue. And anyways, so that sucks. But I would say that like one really good thing did come out of that whole experience, which was that she had really encouraged me to try therapy, um, because she was convinced that I was depressed, which like I never really thought I was depressed, but she said that, I was showing like all of the symptoms and signs or whatever of being depressed, and she explained it to me, and I guess it made sense, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll try it. So I don't have, like a ton of money or anything. So what I did was I called, there's like an organization here that's run by the government, I guess. And so I live just outside of Toronto in what's called Peel region. And so I called Peel Family Services, and basically they gave me an appointment for an intake to see if I would qualify for like free counseling. So I did the intake thing. It was over the phone. It took like an hour. And at the end, the lady told me, like, okay, so you're going to qualify if you would like. There's a waiting list of like up to 3 months or something. So just, let us know if you would like it, and we'll put your name on, and, we'll get back to you or whatever. And I said, okay, great, whatever. So I put my name down, and then I got a call like the next day from them saying that they had like reviewed my case or whatever, and it turns out I actually qualify for immediate assistance, because I guess I was like high risk or something, which was alarming, because like I mean I knew things were bad, but like I didn't think that they were that bad. But apparently the psychotherapist that I did my intake with did. So I started that. I had 2 sessions of that, and it was honestly like it was really hard. And I don't think for the normal reasons that therapy is hard. Like, I had no problem telling her things, talking about events and things and stuff like that. But when it came to, like, how do you feel about that? I found it really hard to answer. And it wasn't because I didn't want to. It was just honestly, like, I didn't have an answer. Like, I didn't know. And I think that was really frustrating both of us because she was trying to get me to do like these chart diagram things and like map how I feel, and like I can't do this. Like, I don't know and I can't do it. Like, so that wasn't going great. But then I was doing what I normally do all of the time if I'm not like playing video games or, taking care of my dog or something. So I was watching YouTube and I saw a suggested video for a channel of a person. The channel is called Of Herbs and Altars, and the video was talking about their experience with anorexia or eating disorders. I forget exactly what the title was, or something like in the 90s. And that interested me, of course, because I grew up in the 90s and I also struggled more so with like an active eating disorder in my teen years, and now I definitely still have an eating disorder, but it's like really not conscious or voluntary. It's that's a whole other video, I guess, if you're interested in that. But basically, I found that video and I watched it, and it was interesting. And in it, they mentioned that they had Asperger's, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And they also mentioned that Asperger's was really common, or eating disorders rather were really common in people with Asperger's or autism, and so I thought that was interesting because like a year and a half ago, I was sort of trying to, well, you know what? It was something that I think I also stumbled across, but it was this eating disorder called ARFID, or Avoidant Restrictive Food Intake Disorder, and I was like, wow, this is incredible. Like, this is what I have. This is why I can't eat, and I identified with it so strongly. And then one of the last things it said about it was that it's most commonly seen in children with autism, and then I sort of second guessed, that self-diagnosis, and obviously I wasn't in treatment for anything psychological or anything at the time, so I just sort of let it go and like, whatever, I have a hard time eating and I just struggle with that. And so when I heard her connect the dots between eating disorders and Asperger's or autism, that sort of got me thinking a little bit. And so I saw another one of her videos, so I saw another one of their videos on the sidebar, and it said it was something about like Asperger's in females, and masking, something like that. So okay, I clicked on it, and like my mind was completely blown. Like she started describing all of these things that like I never realized were not things that everybody did, and like just all of these things kind of started to click in my head. And so I just sort of like went down this rabbit hole of YouTube and Google and researching autism and how it presents in women and females, people who are assigned female at birth. And so I found all these other channels. Yosemite Sam I found, and then that linked me to like Purple Ella, and I found Asperger's on the Inside, Stephanie Bethany, the Aspie World, Paige Lael, and Chloe Hayden, who was just recently changed her name from Princess Aspian. And I found all of these people, and they were all talking about all of these experiences, and like everything they were saying was not everything, but like so many of the things that they were saying were just like clicking with me. And I say not everything because obviously if you know anything about like autism and the spectrum and stuff, like if you know one person with autism, you know one person with autism.
Okay, so I just wanted to interrupt myself quickly to talk about identity first versus person first language because there's actually a lot of different opinions on this. Um, in this video, I tend to use person first language, like person with autism, and talk about having autism and with autism, as opposed to referring to myself as an autistic person and people as autistic people. And actually, to be honest, I this was just sort of a bit of a mistake on my point. I already knew that I prefer the use of identity first language, and I was a little nervous when I was making this video, and it is in the person first language is ingrained in me because I took this course in university on children with disabilities, and so they ingrained this person first language in me, and so I'm trying to get over it, but yeah, I sort of slipped up and was using person first language in this video, even though I did not mean to. So yeah, that's it.
At that point, I was just like, I must have autism. Like, I must. Like, it explains everything. It's like my whole life and my experiences. It just like, as soon as I put them into this perspective and like I was looking through the lens of autism, it's like everything just started to make sense. And this is something actually that I had written in a way to try and explain it to my girlfriend how I was feeling before she broke up with me. And so I'm going to read this. It says, "It's like my whole life has been written in this code. And up till now, I've spent the whole time trying to figure out what the hell any of it means. But when I started to learn about autism, it was like someone told me, you know that's written in a different language, right? And handed me a translator. And so that's the best way that I can describe sort of like the realization. I have not yet been diagnosed, and I'll get there. I have more to say on that. But it's like even without having an official diagnosis or anything like that, just hearing these people talk about these things, their experiences, and put into words things that I'd only ever like things that I'd never even thought about that I did that are not normal, or like things that I assumed that everyone else did, or just things that I thought were just weird little quirks about me, and things that I wondered if anyone else did, and just talking about all of these different things is like wow. And I'm able to understand myself so much better and explain myself so much better to other people that like even if I don't actually receive a diagnosis, which I honestly have a hard time, like, I don't think that that would happen if I actually see somebody who's competent and knows about autism and how it presents in women, and people who are assigned female at birth. But like just knowing what I know now has helped me so much that it's incredible. And like I've been finding ways to cope with issues and improve my life just from watching these videos, and people give like little tips on how they deal with things. Uh and so I realized that I don't think that I was really depressed in the normal sense of depression, because I think what it really was what people refer to as an autistic burnout, where you kind of you can lose skills, and I definitely lost like all of my ability to do anything executive function related, like cleaning my house, and just initiation was the hardest thing, and transitions, and so my executive functioning just absolutely went to crap. And I found it so hard to have any motivation to do anything, but I was still able to happily engage in what I now realize are my special interests. So I was still playing a lot of video games and watching a lot of YouTube or Star Trek, or whatever it is that I was into and that I was interested in. I had no problem sitting around doing that for literally all day, spending 12 hours 16 hours straight playing Fallout 76 with my online friends. And, like I would have no problem doing that. But as soon as it's like, okay, get up and wash 2 dishes, it's like, and I would agonize over it forever. And yeah, so and then all of the negative thoughts that I had were mainly spawning from like me beating myself up for being lazy or not, and for not being able to do all these things that I'm telling myself that I should be doing and that I should be able to do, and like, why aren't you doing this? And and so I think that's what a lot of the depression and those kinds of related thoughts were stemming from, which is why I realize now that it really was like an autistic burnout, which is why now I have given myself actual permission to relax, and I'm really just taking a break and taking it slow at sort of getting into the swing of life again. And I think things are definitely going better now. But anyway, so as far as the rest of the story goes, this was on April 9th that I sort of first found this information. And my next therapy appointment wasn't until the 19th, so I had 10 days. And so I spent the next 10 days like 10, 12 or more hours a day just like watching YouTube videos and doing research on Google about autism and, looking at checklists and all of these things. And so when I did finally get to talk to my therapist, I told her, and she was like honestly shocked by how much I talked. Like I went off for like, I mean, the sessions are an hour, and I know I talked for more than 30 minutes before. And I kept like, she kept trying to say stuff, and I was like, no, just let me get. And I was just saying like all of this stuff that I had, like all this information and all of these experiences that I had that relate to why I think I have autism. And yeah, she was definitely shocked at. I was like, when I finished, I was like, okay, you can talk now. And she was like, are you sure? I'm kind of scared, which honestly was a little offensive. Like, I don't want to get into how she sort of is a little bit offensive. There was a couple things she did that sort of bothered me, but that's not the point. The point is that basically she told me that I was gonna have to go to my GP, like my regular doctor, for a referral, because it's a to see a psychiatrist who you have to see to get diagnosed with autism is it's a medical thing technically. And because she's a psychotherapist, she's not a medical professional, so she can't refer me to a medical professional. So anyway, she told me to call my doctor, and I'm like, okay. So because my doctor, I don't consider him my doctor anymore. Like the last GP that I went to, I refused to go to, and I will never go to again, because he said, I mean, he's awful. He's this stubborn old prick who's always telling me that there's nothing wrong with me. And like I tried to talk to him about my eating disorder for like 10 years, and he basically just brushes me off every time and tells me that I'm stressed and whatever. So I didn't want to see him about it, because I'm like, fat chance he's gonna do anything for me. So I actually called a walking clinic. And because everything's over the phone right now, I spoke to the doctor at the walking clinic. I rambled on him for like 5 minutes, and he was like, okay, I have no problem referring you to a psychologist or psychiatrist. And I was like, thanks. Like, it's what I wanted, but I was also a little like, ooh. Maybe I am crazy. I mean, I'm not crazy. It's just like I really am out there, and I've been realizing it more and more how different I am, but like it's okay. It's a good different, but it's definitely different. And anyways, so I got the call back from the psychiatrist's office. I have my referral, and so I'm going in on March 21st, May 21st. And yeah, I mean that's basically where I'm at now. It's sort of the end of the story. I'm very nervous for this. Uh, I have definitely prepared a lot of notes, and I've, gone through checklists and like checked them off, and I'm going to have them printed out and ready to go and bring with me when I go. And like I have all of this stuff to present, and hopefully I'll be able to do it because I get really nervous when I get in situations where I have to explain myself. So yeah, hopefully that goes okay. But basically, the whole reason that I'm making this video is because I wanted to sort of bring you guys along with me on this little journey of mine, and keep you updated on the process of getting diagnosed with autism in Canada. Um, and also ADHD. I didn't mention that yet, but I definitely also have ADHD. Uh, it's really common to go along with autism, and I was never assessed for ADHD as a kid, even though I definitely should have been. And I know my parents talked about it, but like my dad has it, he's diagnosed, my brother is diagnosed with ADHD. Um, but essentially, they had me assessed for the gifted program. They let me go into the gifted program because I was smart, but as far as anything being like wrong with me, my mom very much didn't want that, so she protested, and I never got assessed for ADHD as a kid. But I definitely have that too. So yeah, that's it. That's the whole video. That's everything that I have to say today about this. Yeah, it's a lot, I guess. It's like, again, it's like the same thing as I said at the beginning of my last video. It's like not very much has happened in my life yet. So much has happened in my life. Uh, that's where I'm at, and I'm really hoping that I'm gonna have the motivation to bring you guys along with me on this journey, because actually I think that this particular subject is something that's pretty important, because from what I've learned, there are a lot of women and people who are assigned female at birth out there that go undiagnosed because just like research that's been done on autism has always been based around little white boys, to be honest. And so it's not just people who are assigned female at birth. It's also people of color, um, who often have a uh, sort of like lower rates of diagnosis, even though the rates may not actually be lower in those populations. It's just that they're less likely to get diagnosed because of the different ways that they might present. Um, and I might do a video on um, presentation of autistic traits in women, and in people who are female at birth, assigned female at birth. Sorry, because I've seen a ton of videos, and like there's so much about the differences in traits, but I've never really seen anybody go in depth on why that is. And obviously there hasn't been a lot of research done, but I think after doing all of the research that I've done, and just reading other people's research, and listening to other people's thoughts and their experiences, I think I have a pretty good idea, and I think it has mainly to do with how girls are socialized as infants and young children. But anyways, I guess I can leave that as a topic for another video if you guys are interested in that. But yeah, I just think that this whole concept of adult diagnosis of autism, and especially in women and people who are assigned female at birth, is really important, and something that a lot more people should know about and learn about, because like finding this out, like I said, I don't even know for sure, but just what I have found out so far has been so helpful for me in my life, and understanding my life, and accepting myself. Um, so I think that there are a lot of other folks out there who can benefit from this information. And from everything that I've heard, diagnosis can be a long, drawn out, and difficult process, and sometimes it involves a lot of self advocacy. So, um, yeah, I just want to share my experience with this with you guys, and hopefully it will help somebody. And if it doesn't, help anybody directly, like hopefully it will at least help sort of raise awareness for the struggles that so many people go through being undiagnosed with autism until adulthood. Like I just turned 30, so yeah. Anyways, that's everything. That's definitely everything now. I have rambled for quite a while, I think. So thank you very much for watching, and subscribe if you want to subscribe and, follow along with me on this journey that I am embarking on. And yeah, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below what you think, or even just, wish me luck with all of what's ahead of me. So yeah. Thanks for watching. Bye.